So hello everyone. My name is Oshawayimi Eriko Arigoye, and I am a medical doctor. I'm a researcher in health, applied health. I also do community work. Um, Again, I create change with Nguvu Collective. Um, I do quite a lot of things back at home in Nigeria, but I'm based somewhere else for now. So there is a saying in an appellation in my home or in my house, in my family house, that says Ulima Sang Ibiren Karin. It means if the house is good, when the house is good or when the home is good, the women laugh. So for me, I'm going to change that to say Ulima Sang Ajami Moara, meaning that when the house is good, I'll be in my town and not be somewhere else. So I am going to talk very gently and not like rant, and I'm going to be using my notes because I made a video previously about some people putting up a video and saying if you don't keep worry clean, the more agenda will not come to your place. And I got really pissed off because it's like you're weaponizing your development that is supposed to be the right of the people, so the people you are serving. So I'm going to be talking about the M.O.R.E agenda, and from what I understand is the M.O.R.E agenda. So I'm going to be speaking in English, Pidgin English, and Ishekiri. So because those are the languages I I think my audience might relate with. So I went on to the website of the Delta State government, and I saw that they have this thing called the M.O.R.E agenda. I don't know why you guys wrote the vision twice. It says the vision is for is to keep Delta State ahead in all aspects of socioeconomic well-being. I don't know why you repeated it twice. Were you thinking about vision and mission statements, because you have it twice on the website? But it's all right, we all make mistakes. So the things I thought about each time I see the M.O.R.E agenda, especially from my own people, I keep asking, the M.O.R.E agenda, what does it truly mean for the everyday Deltan? So what does it mean for the everyday Deltan, me who is a Deltan, who comes from Iwere Kingdom, who grew up in Warri, whose family as are in Warri, like Warri South, Warri Southwest, Warri North? What's the M.O.R.E agenda? What does it mean for the communities I serve and I come from? Who will deliver this M.O.R.E agenda to the everyday boy, girl, woman, man, people living with disabilities, vulnerable people in my communities? So, and also, who do we hold accountable in our communities? I'm not talking about Delta as a whole. I come from somewhere in Delta State. So who do we hold accountable in our communities for the M.O.R.E agenda? So when can we start seeing the impact of this M.O.R.E agenda? Because we talk a lot about the M.O.R.E agenda, and I keep asking my team members, I keep asking my friends, I keep asking, people I know who are every day, who are all waiting for that thing to happen from the government. It don't reach your side. This the way that they talk, you don't see them, you don't participate, you touch your hand again. So when do we start seeing the impact? Also, is there a cost and economic evaluation on the interventions designed for the M.O.R.E agenda? So I'm a researcher. We do cost analysis, cost effectiveness analysis. We get to evaluate the interventions we bring into a place. So is it an agile kind of system where the M.O.R.E agenda is being evaluated and to see if you want to do some changes as you go? Does the M.O.R.E agenda align with the Sustainable Development Goals? So the UN Sustainable Development Goals is what the world is using to hold themselves accountable, to see whether they are doing things that are making sense, to see whether they are actually doing things that are promoting sustainable development in the country. So the UN has this. There was previously the Millennium Development Goals. Now we have the Sustainable Development Goals. We have until 2030, and we are being held accountable in various parts of it. So is the M.O.R.E agenda aligning with the SDGs? So we've all talked, you've heard me say the vision of this M.O.R.E agenda. The first thing it says, it stands for meaningful development, economic development. So in what way are we quantifying this development that you are talking about in towns and cities, in communities. How are you quantifying it? When you say economic development, I bring it down to somewhere like Warri South or Warri North or Warri Southwest. What does it mean? So a place like Ubeje, Bukodo, let's assume they are districts or their quarters. What does economic development mean? Are you having smart goals, specific goals, targets to say by so and so time, this is how we want the economy to be? Because that again, if you talk about economic development, you are talking about, for example, SDG 8, decent work and economic growth. You are talking about SDG 9, industrial innovation and infrastructure. SDG 10, reducing inequalities. SDG 11, sustainable communities. SDG 12, responsible consumption and production. So how are we quantifying it, and what do we know belongs to us and what doesn't belong to us? What is economic development? Human capacity development. So you're also still again in those SDGs, if I'm correct. So how many schools are you rehabilitating, renovating, reopening, or you are building, or roads or hospitals? So infrastructure, you just wrote infrastructure on your website. How do we hold you accountable? Or you just wake up and do zigzag projects? Quantify it for us, let us know. You said economic sustainability. This is just under M, which is what do you call it? Meaningful development. So sustainable development is environmental sustainability. That's a buzzword. What you've just done, whoever came up with this agenda, just brought up buzzwords that we all hear in the development space and in research space. These are buzzwords. So when you say sustainable, environmental sustainability, in what areas? If I'm talking about a sustainable environment, I'm talking about affordable and clean energy, that's SDG 7. I'm talking about sustainable cities and communities, that's SDG 11. And in each of these SDGs, you'll see that it has targets and actions. So for like sustainable, to make to make cities and human settlements safe, reliant and sustainable, there are 10 targets and there are 1,239. Of which of these have you picked to say it is what we are going to do, say for example in M.O.R.E South? So buzzwords, are you talking about reviving local textile manufacturing? Are you talking about eco-friendly bags to reduce plastics? Are you talking about recycling centers, sectioning M.O.R.E South, for example, or M.O.R.E itself into districts or zones and saying they are going to be recycling centers, that we are going to be reducing plastic, we are going to have single bag usage? What are you talking about? Is it climate action, life on land, life on water? What are your targets? What are we looking forward to? Then we have the O, opportunity for all. So you talk about equity and fairness, but you did not tell us who you are giving equity and fairness to. Because first of all, you are shooting yourself in the leg, because when we talk about elections, we all know the things surrounding elections. So are you talking about accessibility in terms of those living with disabilities, the vulnerable? So transportation, are you changing transportation? Are you introducing, or you are transforming the way transportation is? Are our schools accessible for these people living with disabilities? How many schools for people with special needs? Are we changing the way our hospitals are? Equity, fairness in terms of jobs, is it based on slots? Is it based on them say? Are we having fair employment? Are we recruiting more people? We are not discriminating them. So in what ways? Have you also talked about gender equality? I'm not talking about the one where you just bring 5-10 women and come and dance, or say we don't bring women join this thing. No, I'm talking about fairness in gender in terms of access to maybe offices, access to places, access to education. Do we have child brides in our areas? What do we do? And then, so I've got someone who is part of this conversation. Again, gender equality and equality inclusiveness. So pardon her. So you then talked about inclusiveness. Are you including what is it for those who are living with sickle cell? What about them in terms of employment? Do we have discrimination? We still have people living with disabilities who are not having employment. We're still discriminating them. So when you talk about inclusiveness, it's a buzzword. What are you going to do in terms of inclusion? What about the non-indigenous in our spaces, like those who are coming from the north? What are we doing? How inclusive are we? Engagement with stakeholders. Where are you having any recent open consultations with communities on future plans and your projects, whereby you are saying at so and so time we are meeting at so and so town hall and we are going to discuss the change in bus stations, or we are introducing bus stations, or we are introducing so and so institution, we want your consultation. Who are you engaging with? Who are the stakeholders you are talking about? You want the people to have the M.O.R.E agenda, but your way of engaging them is going on the street and shouting and saying, if you don't keep worry clean, we will not bring the M.O.R.E agenda to you. That's not how to engage. We need to sit down and talk and see what are you doing, and then people make consultation where people vote and say, is this thing going to be functional in M.O.R.E? Is it going to make sense? Not your idea, you think that's what they need. Then you came and are there public, private, voluntary charity partnerships? Are there bids that the government is giving towards the local government? Are there grants for the communities to assess whereby they can do projects? So what are the partnerships when you talk about inclusiveness? Who are you engaging with? He came up with the word realistic reforms, financial financial reforms, and realistic reforms. That's your R, and that's also like a buzzword. Realistic reforms. We hear a lot about reforms, financial reforms, accelerated industrialization, and SMEs. So, are you having incubator center? The last chairman of M.O.R.E South refused to engage with the incubation center that was just right behind his office, based on information, so credible information that I know. So are we having incubation centers? Are we harnessing the incubation center? What are we doing with the M.O.R.E Innovation Hub? In terms, are we having mentorships? Are we having grants? When we say SMEs and all these conferences we are holding and all these grants we are giving, are we just giving them the grants and leaving them, or giving them one day lectures and say we have done that and that is it? What will 50,000 naira do for the market woman, and how is she going to multiply her 50,000 naira? So how do you make it accelerated industrialization? So what are you having for industry? That's SDG 9. So you have 8 targets and you have 1,046 actions. Have you told us exactly? Have you drawn from there? We want to know. There's nothing secret again. Put it all up in your website. Let's see what you're doing. And for each local government, tell us what you are doing. We have gone beyond snapping picture and saying there was a meeting after I saw. So what was part of the meeting? We want to know. It's not a secret because you are serving the people. So what industries are we looking at? Are we looking at reviving maybe mat weaving? Are we talking about textiles? Are we talking about this plastic, glass? What are we talking about specifically in the 3 M.O.R.E local government? Investment reforms. I said something, Ulima-san, Ajamimowara. So if my town is good and there's no big rain and it's not rubbish, I'll be able to bring people to come and do investment. I will make my place a destination. But right now, what is M.O.R.E like that it will say you are doing investment? Who are we attracting? What are we attracting? What, is it ecotourism? What exactly is this investment, or even public sector reforms? Sustainable agricultural sector. I remember there was a post about fertilizers, which was almost feeling like the farmer was being entitled for him to start talking about fertilizers. What are we giving to the farmers? Are we having engagement with the farmers? The M.O.R.E farmers, I know, are they saying, this is what's happening, these are the trainings? Are we talking about integrated farming? Are we talking about, or we're talking about haphazard agri trainings where you then leave the farmers to? What about farmers who are living with disabilities? I have a group not far off somewhere in Delta State. What are we doing for them? So you don't just come up with buzzwords. And then the E, it says enhance peace and security. Promoting community policing. What does that mean for the everyday Delta? What are they supposed to expect in the communities? What am I supposed to expect in Ubeji, in Bokodo, so that I will know, this is community policing, this is engaging or collaboration among security agencies in maintenance of law and order, so that when I'm coming home, I will know, or when I say, my parents are safe, or I can come home without being worried about the different things. Engagement of youth in productive and gainful employment. What does it mean in terms of peace and security? Robust engagement with traditional institutions. I think this should be in your O, because if you are engaging traditional institutions, that means that you are supposed to be. So you just have buzzwords everywhere. It's all about buzzwords. So I would think that Worry South will tailor down this more agenda. So I think this more agenda is very big. So let's tailor it down to each of the local governments and then each of the communities. What do we have? What are you saying? What are you bringing for us? So that you don't just come and give us all talk and all fluff and then you expect us to just take it hook, line and sinker. You just do scattered projects which are like vertical interventions, which means one-off interventions. And there are no long-term sustainable projects whereby the next governor, the next councillor, the next person comes in and takes it. But rather, what happened to the M.O.R.E agenda? Why is it being thrown away, or why is it being replaced with another buzzword and say this is the agenda? Why don't we have continuity in things we do? Because every 8 years it seems we are going to be having a new agenda. My advice is to have SMART goals, specific, measurable, achievable, realistic, time-bound goals with the M.O.R.E agenda. It is necessary that the councillors and their cohorts are in tune with this M.O.R.E agenda. Not that Worry South local government chairman or Worry North, they are all doing different things. Their councillors are all different things. They are not following this M.O.R.E agenda that we are talking about. Or we just want to be very used to this merry-go-round of leadership that doesn't amount to anything. And when we talk about scorecards, people will come in and start defending and saying, how dare you talk to my Oga like that? Why they respect yourself, they do this, they do that. No, your Oga needs to be held accountable. What have you done? Like Worry Southwest, what did you do in the last time? What's your scorecard? So it will help us have a reasonable scorecard and say, okay, you promise you're going to bring you're going to bring 2 special schools for special needs schools, not the one only in stadium, but the one also that would serve this other side of town. So it's okay, did you build it? What is it like? Who were involved? Who were all of that? And then start making people know their rights and say, this is what it is. This is what... I would love to see things beyond chairman paid XY visit to this. I love to see youths in employment, proper employment, not slaughtered kind of employment, fair, equal, and equality, equity, and fairness, whereby they are able to go employed. There's a board or there's a website where they go and they are being employed, not based on tribe, but based on what qualifications you have. I love to see more smart and sustainable cities whereby you say Worry is turning into an eco city. The behavioral change is happening. Researchers are helping. You are having orientation. You are dismantling myths. You are doing all of that. I want to see research institutions being sponsored. Not only food products should be doing research. There should be research in different parts of... There's so many things to do, amazing things to do. So don't just come and give me buzzwords. We are not fools. We all know what's happening. We all go abroad. We study abroad. Some of us go abroad. We study abroad. Some don't. Some pay attention to the news. They see things online. It's a global village. People are seeing what's happening in the UK. People are seeing what's happening in America. People are like, oh, there's a library like this. Oh, there's a this like this. Why can't it be in my place? Oh, they're talking about plastic. Why can't we have something like that? Oh, these people apply for grants. They said they are going. Why can't there be grants where small organizations can apply for? So let's go beyond this. Oh, you go burial, you go snap photo. Wait till consign me with the person where die. Now that one shop as the person where you deserve. You go and snap photo for unnecessary things. That's not what the people want. That's not what I want for my place. I want whereby I can come to my place and I can say, okay, government is doing this. Okay, can I start coming home? Many people are tired of living. Why do you think there is mass migration to Lagos? Because they think Lagos is the place. So why don't I make this? Why don't I turn my place, my destination, my home, a destination, so that if they say we are looking for people who conserve mangroves, they will say, those Worry people, they know they play with their mangroves, so you can't even cheat them. Now we've signed MOU that we don't understand for mangroves. Did you explain it to us? What does it mean for those Ishekiri communities with mangroves? So when we are talking like this, it's not that we don't want you to be in leadership. We want you to do the thing that made you to sit down there. Even if they did not vote you based on vote or his godfatherism that brought you there, shall do something that will make sense for all of us. I come in peace. I will keep advocating for the rights of the people. whichever way, and I'll keep doing my part. You're not paying me to do the things I'm doing. I don't need you to give me appointments to do the things I'm doing. I'll keep doing. If you give me appointments, I'll still do the same things that I'm doing. But I just want you to be a leader, and all of you are in leadership position, no matter how small, to be held accountable and to tell us exactly. And don't weaponize your development and say, if you not do like this, we not go do like this for you. No.